The major difference between us and other groups is we're internationalist, not nationalist. We believe that the working class of every country has more in common with other working class members of other countries than they do with their own governments. So when an imperialist war breaks out, we always say that the workers need not fight and kill other workers. All they're doing is benefiting the rich. So internationalism, because of that, is a class question, number one. And if we were nationalists, we'd be on the wrong side of the class. So always, our solidarity is with workers in China, workers in Africa, wherever it may be. We have more in common with them, even though it may not seem so at first sight, because we're exploited by the same type of people.
Well, internationalism is a concept that is very much included in Marxism. Leninism is one of the, I would say, one of the big concepts of building. We cannot, as we try to liberate ourselves, we find that we need to work with everybody around the world, with organizations, with individuals, to liberate, because we need to eliminate the conflicts that exist around the world, basically, because all those conflicts also affect us very much, so the conflicts have to be resolved. So solidarity means that we like to make sure that the working class in the United States can work and support the struggles that are going on around the world.
To me, international solidarity means recognizing that every single person on this planet is my brother, sister, sibling, and I have a duty to fight for them to have the best life possible. And I think that that is at the heart of communism and at the heart of what we do in CPUSA.
Means we don't distinguish ethically and morally between the interests and rights of workers in our own country and those of workers in the other countries. You can't be an anti-imperialist unless you're an internationalist. Proletarian internationalism, working class internationalism, doesn't matter what you call it, but that's key.
What internationalism means to me is that someday we, as members of the international working class, will be able to work in cooperation and solidarity with one another. That we will be able to build a truly international proletarian movement that will be able to defeat capitalism, defeat nationalism, defeat the reactionary forces that are posed against us, and that someday we will move beyond divisions of nation, borders, class, and creed, and eventually create a truly unified working class.
Internationalism means solidarity to me. When I think about the history of different progressive movements, many of those movements were internationalist in nature. Like when we think about the work that people like Paul Robeson and Claudia Jones and a lot of other Black militants in this party were doing, they were doing in conjunction with efforts that were happening around the world, and to help keep in mind this like internationalist outlook in the organizing that we do.
To me, internationalism means the prioritization of solidarity among working class people around the world over any nationalistic tendencies. And I think it's also important to consider that internationalism is not merely an idea or a feeling, but it's also a moment of history. A moment in which the working class around the world is able to stay connected in a way that was not possible before. And this was an idea that was expressed by Jose Carlos Mariátegui. And during his time, the international working class stayed connected through cable. And today we have an almost indispensable amount of tools at our disposal in order to strengthen our solidarity internationally, to where the moment an act of imperialism happens in the global south, we can organize in our own countries, we can fight propaganda online, and we can stay connected as the millions of communists worldwide.
The really cool thing about being in the heart of the beast, right, in the imperial core, is that what we do here really matters. That's why we're here. That's why global solidarity is important. As Americans, we have to recognize what our nation has done, not just to its own people, but globally, the impact that we've had, the negative impact that we've had all over the world. And so as communists, it is vitally important that we recognize that and that we stand with our comrades all over the place that have the boot of U.S. imperialism crushing their necks.
Connecting what we're living here in the United States to what others are living in other countries, being able to just connect all of the struggles and just keeping our eye on what would move not just the working people of the United States forward, but what will move the working classes throughout the world forward.
Internationalism means to me the coming together of all people around the world, understanding that all of us have mutual interests and that the freedom of one is dependent on the freedom of all, and that the freedom of all, conversely, is dependent on the freedom of each one.
A wise Mexican president said, "Peace means respect for the rights of others." We respect the rights of the People's Republic of China to choose their own path to happiness. The same goes for Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and other developing countries around the world. Internationalism means to be partisan to the interest of the international working class. A U.S. Union song says, "Which side are you on?" And we are in solidarity with the migrant workers from around the world who migrate to escape extreme poverty and violence. We are in solidarity with socialist countries and the World Communist Movement. And yes, international solidarity makes us strong.